TPAs, which we are all dealing with nowadays as far as our patients are concerned. And we would be discussing the challenges, and we are here to find solutions for everybody because there are so many private practitioners in our state, and in fact, not just in our state, all over India. In some states, there has been some work which has been started on this related to challenges and then finding solutions. So we thought that UP should also get started with this. We want to thank Dr. Puneet Gupta and Dr. Ankit, who took the lead in this and got this initiated. And whenever members come up with something which should be done, it is a responsibility of UP State Ophthalmological Society that we should support them, we should help them take it forwards, and then take it forwards in such a manner that it benefits all the members. So the basic idea of this TPA improvement process is that we all were trained as doctors, we excelled in our surgeries, but something that was not taught in our curriculum was how to do admin work, how to deal with things like insurances, TPAs, etc. And with time, we realized that we have to be a part of this. So by default, we learned a few things. We learned what is empanelment. We learned what are MOUs, what are discounts, etc. And we were not in a position where we knew what we are actually supposed to do. In fact, as they say, beggars can't be choosers. So whatever the companies dictated to us, we followed that, and we are still following. But now it is the time that we should actually get together. We should realize what is that thing that will benefit us as well as the patients, along with the TPA companies and insurances, so that we are able to give the best of services to everybody. So with this, we start this webinar, and I would like to invite our president, Dr. Dharmendra Nath, to say a few words about this initiative. You are muted, Dr. Dharmendra Nath. Can you unmute yourself? Dr. Nath? Yeah.
Now it's okay?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mohita Sharma, that you, under your great supervision, Dr. Puneet Gupta and others, they have taken a very good initiative to deal with this TPA issues. So I think the session should go on, and I just say open to all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now we invite Dr. Puneet Gupta to start the webinar with his introductory words.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, yes, it is visible. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Dharmendra Nath, sir, Dr. Mohita, and Dr. Brijesh for keeping this topic for discussion in UPSOS forum. And this is an important problem these days with every practitioner. And we are witnessing the growing role of TPA and insurance in private practices. And this TPA will cover almost every part of the state in times to come. There are certain problems which we will be discussing today, which private practitioners are facing. These are the challenges in current cashless insurance procedures. We are getting delayed claims. The claims are not cleared on time. There are reduced payments. They commit for certain amount and then they reduce the payment subsequently. They raise complex queries which are difficult to answer. And the main problem is the rates of the procedures are not reasonable and they are low. If the rates are low, we are not earning enough through these procedures, the surgery. We are trying to cover these costs by doing more cases. This is causing excessive amount of work, and it is the reason for early burnout. The cost, we are doing cost cutting in surgeries, and we are using instruments and consumables which are made for single use, thereby compromising on quality. A cutter or a cassette is used multiple times, which is causing the risk during surgery. The surgeons are doing extra work. They are going from city to city. They are risking their life, wasting their time, and to make the practices viable. So that was not the mission of your chosen path. Now, this problem is throughout the India. But the Tamil Nadu state has taken a lead in this, and they are in the forefront of organizing a response from its members. And what they have done is that they have collected data from all their members of Tamil Nadu State Ophthalmic Society, and based on that data, they created a document. They took help of IMA, and they are in communication with various different insurance companies. They have had a meeting in Coimbatore where they communicated with the insurance companies, and I had a talk with Dr. Sriram, who is secretary of Tamil Nadu Association, and he was very optimistic about the outcome of these talks. And when I told him that we are also facing these challenges, he said that you should also create the similar document with the consensus of the members. And if all the states, if few more states will start doing this, I think the outcome will be positive. This is the document of, this is the letter that they have sent to the members, where the insurance committee is aiming for this is just a gist of this letter, where the Tamil Nadu Insurance Committee aims for the eye care service delivery. They are in active dialogue with the insurance companies on rates and contracts of the hospitals. They have advised hospitals not to enter the new agreement currently because there are certain changes which are upcoming. Ophthalmology procedure rates are deliberated, and Tamil Nadu Ophthalmic Association requests the consideration of several factors, like they have emphasized that ophthalmology is largely a daycare procedure. There should be additional charges for additional procedures like general anesthesia, and they have suggested that intraocular implants to be charged at maximum retail price MRP only. So this is the gist of this letter that they have communicated to their member after the exercise they have done. This is the letter that they have sent to the insurance company, where they have asked for the administrative optimization of ophthalmic service delivery, pre-authorization process for the eye surgeries to streamline payments. They have emphasized on the transparency of package rates and tariff revisions, the simplification of administrative processes to cut unnecessary costs, ensuring reimbursement of procedures that doesn't affect emergency services, and support for hospitals with expedited claim settlement post-discharge, that the claim should be done within a week's time. So this was the gist of the letter that they have sent to insurance companies, addressing their grievances, what are the problems of the members, so that they can be aware of the problems and things can be rectified from the side of insurance companies. The Maharashtra Ophthalmological Society also is actively involved in this. They are addressing 100% cashless policy push, which is there by insurance companies in Maharashtra. They are saying that the insurance should be covered. 100% cashless policy should be there. There is concern over the reduced rate and public perception of fraud in ophthalmology claims. Why? Because when this thing 100% cashless policy is done, then the people feel that there is a fraud happening in the reimbursement process, and it is a problem with the doctor-patient relationship. They have proposed that there should be a scientific costing of the procedures. We have to assess the proper cost of our procedures, and there should be clear communication by insurance companies and TPAs to the hospitals and patients about how much charges can be reimbursed for this patient for this particular surgery. Yearly rate revision should be there for aligning with the inflation rate. There is need for transparent policy documentation, inclusion of provider association in policy making, and there should be high-level grievance redressal mechanism for this for the problems that doctors are facing in insurance claims. They have called for unity among stakeholders to tackle issues effectively. So this was about Maharashtra Association. There are other successful models in other states. The very interesting thing that is happening in Bombay for last more than 10 years, that there is no cash they don't do any cashless procedure in Bombay. Almost about 90% of the practices are not following cashless policy. They are only doing reimbursement, and they are following it for last more than 10 years. Baroda and Rajasthan is also thinking about these problems, and they are also collecting people for their opinion and trying to make some document. Jaipur Ophthalmological Society has started blacklisting the insurance companies which are having unfavorable terms. So instead of insurance companies blacklisting the doctors or setup, they have started blacklisting insurance companies. This thing is becoming effective. Now, in our state, we have also started doing this, and it is a collective effort. And we have formed, in this collective effort, we have formed a WhatsApp group about the TPA problems, and people have joined these WhatsApp group. Prior practitioners have joined this WhatsApp group. We have done 3 surveys through this WhatsApp group. There is one general survey about the practice pattern. There is a survey about the cataract and anterior segment costing and practice pattern. And through the Retina Forum group, we have done a practice survey and costing analysis amongst the retina specialists. So on the basis of this information through the WhatsApp group and surveys, we are trying to make a consensus document that we will forward to UPSOS. Under the guidance of our President, Dr. Dharmendranath, and Secretary, Dr. Mohita Sharma, we have formed a core team that involves members from different regions of the state, specialties, and experience. And we seek participation of every private ophthalmic practitioners from the state in this endeavor. Now, about the costing, what I feel is that there are 4 types of practice systems that exist. There is government organization, there is charitable organization and corporate organization, and private practices like us. The government, charitable, and corporate systems are funded by somewhere else. The government is funded by government, charitable organization are getting donation, and corporate is getting corporate money. But the private practices are self-funding. Whatever we are creating is created by the money that we are earning. So the model of private practice should be, the financial model of the private practice cannot be compared with these 3 models. So our rates should be different because we cannot compete with these organizations. So we have to analyze, and we should have a scientific costing of these procedures. Only then we can survive. We should also think about the modalities of the charges, whether we should charge all-inclusive packages, or there should be surgery charges plus itemized billing. We should have a base minimum rate of the surgery decided amongst ourselves, for us and for the insurance companies. Based on this base minimum rates, we can quote these rates for insurance companies that we will not charge less than this. And we should also consider that all major subspecialties like retina should be independently viable. Subspecialties should not be parasite on the main specialty of cataract. The retina and other subspecialties like glaucoma should be independently viable. Only then the practices can survive. We need support from UPSOS so that we can forward our problems to the authorities with the help of UPSOS. And we should also collaborate with other state societies. We should also push this agenda in AIOS and Indian Medical Association. We have to save ourselves first to serve others. Otherwise, we will not survive. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Gajesh, please continue.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Such a nice initiative. And definitely हमें इस चीज की बहुत जरूरत है. We need for this very urgently or very necessary topic. Now continue with ma'am.
Yes,
Now
so
I
we,
invite Dr. Sanjeev Hansraj to
yeah.
speak on the results of the surveys that we have conducted to this TPA initiative group. Dr. Sanjeev Hansraj, please.
Hello, good evening. Is the screen visible?
Yes.
So I'll just quickly give you an overview of the results of the survey that was conducted by on Puneet's initiative. So the aim was to identify.
Dr. Saji, can you just put it on full screen?
Full screen.
It's not on full screen. Okay.
No.
1 minute from where?
One slideshow at the bottom.
The icon next to 68% at the bottom.
It is from my side. I am seeing it on full screen.
Okay. From that bottom slideshow button at the bottom, at the bottom.
I'm sharing screen, then stop share. Share screen. Share sound. Where is the full screen? Share sound. On the right, share. Now, is it full screen?
Yes, sir.
So the aim of the survey was to identify the practice patterns of the cataract and posterior segment surgeon in Uttar Pradesh and to provide suggestions for improving the quality of care and basically mostly for billing and adequate compensation vis-a-vis the insurance companies when we are dealing with patients who have insurance. So the method was that an online survey was conducted in November using Google Forms, which was circulated via the UPSOS members group and UP Retina Forum. So initially there was one registration form was circulated with general question about facilities at their centers, types of surgeries, insurance, whether they have or not, empanelments, problem faced, etc. And thereafter, separate forms were circulated to anterior and posterior segment surgeons with some specific questions related to their specialties. So surprisingly, total registrations were 75 through the UPSOS members group for the general registration survey, but the total responses to specific surveys were reduced, only 26 for cataract anterior segment and 16 for retina. The reason may be that there were some common questions, so the members may not have felt the need to repeat or refill the specific forms. Anyhow, we were able to gather some results based on these. We will say that we received 75 responses. So most of the centers are daycare centers. Vast majority of them have got empanelments that maybe with majority of them or a lot of them are having Ayushman and CGHS and various TPAs. Out of it, the popular ones are like Star Health, Niva, SBI General Insurance, Reliance, Tata, HDFC and ICI Lombard. These are the main ones which were mentioned in the responses. The ratio of the insurance patient, it varies from center to center, and the maximum is about 40% of the total volume of surgeries from insurance in some centers, and the least that has been reported was 10%. So the summary, the next, most surgeons do not agree that all the insurance should be cashless because we asked because some states like Maharashtra are trying to move towards totally cashless and there will be no reimbursements and no claims are going to be entertained by the company. So most surgeons do not agree to this, that all the insurance should be cashless only. And most centers are used to doing all-inclusive type of billing of their procedures. Most retina and cataract surgeons believe that although limited, this is regarding the reuse of disposable surgical equipment that we have and implements. So most of the surgeons believe that reuse of disposable is a limited reuse is acceptable, but it is primarily done out of cost constraints, and it would be best if the things were not reused and fresh supplies were used in each and every case. So most surgeons also believe that the cost for these consumables should be borne by the patient or the insurer, and the owner should not the cost or the weight should not come upon the hospital or the surgeon. Most surgeons also believe in providing all-inclusive package to the insurance company, because this was one of the questions was whether we should have all-inclusive package or they should be itemized billing. So because most surgeons are already practicing this, they are used to the all-inclusive package. So they have also opted that they should be, they are comfortable with the all-inclusive package. But they also believe that itemized billing is more transparent and it provides better compensation and it is more realistic also. But most centers, because they are not tuned to this system, so they are a little hesitant, but there is almost a 50-50 division on this. Most retina surgeons believe that minimum package charges for simple, minimally invasive vitreous surgery should be more than 50,000. And for complex surgeries, it should be at least 60,000 to 80,000 rupees. Whereas we know that the insurance companies currently pay a very low amount for retina surgeries, and it may be they are not giving any charges or any extra payment for the vitrectomy packs, etc., which are becoming more and more common now with most companies. So as compared to cataract surgery, retina surgery is definitely much less lucrative, or in fact, it is hardly produces any profit for the center. Cataract surgeons believe that they should get paid more for premium IOLs like toric and multifocals, because it definitely requires more time and effort on their part in planning and execution. As regard this topic, what to say about most of the insurance companies, they deny their patients if any premium IOL is asked for in the authorization, or if there is any multifocal, absolutely flatly denied. So as more and more advanced lenses are being produced, now that we have EDOF and these lenses which we can also, or advanced monofocal, we can't even call them multifocal. So the insurance companies should be also aligned to giving the authorization for these lenses. Then similarly, in combined procedure, the deduction of cost is another factor. So the deduction of cost for a second procedure, it should be less than, it should be, currently they are deducting a lot of money if the second procedure is done. So majority are favored that about 10% only should be deducted from the cost if a second procedure is done. And IOLs should be billed at MRP, and there should be no capping on the cost of the lens. If at all, the cost of the lens may be capped depending upon the individual patient's insurance policy terms, but not as a blanket rule, which is currently being followed. The other concerns are, of course, as I said, denial of premium IOLs to cashless patients. The ICs lack, insurance companies' lack of transparency regarding the eligibility limits of authorization to their customers. Them reducing that already highlighted by Puneet, reducing pre-approved amounts in the final authorization after the procedure has been performed, or sometimes they release the balance assured sum only after submission of the documents, which has to be done immediately after the surgery, within an hour, or then you will not get the reimbursement. Then there are also matters of delayed settlements. Then patients are not properly informed by the company regarding their co-payment. And then there are issues at the hospital regarding co-payment. The patient thinks that the doctor or the center is charging extra from them, whereas they have to be shown all the documents where co-payment is written in their authorization. And then another thing is that there is either no response or very poor response about the tariff revision. So even after the agreements lapse, the tariffs are not revised by the insurance companies, and they go on paying you at the old rates. So this is a very big issue. So these are all the things which came out of the survey.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sanjeev Hansraj. And so now we have heard what this survey says and what our members and our fellow colleagues want, and what they should, what they feel is the best way to give the best services to our patients. Now we have to find a solution as to how we make this happen. So let us hear Dr. Roop on how we can make this happen. Dr. Roop is a very renowned ophthalmologist with a very good practice from Meerut. And let's hear what solutions he has to suggest.
Is my screen visible?
You have to remove this window of, there are two windows there. So maybe you can remove one and enlarge the other. It's visible. We need to just go into full screen. Yes, that's perfect now.
So basically, we have decided that we have to approach this problem collectively. So we should know what are our credentials and standing. So basically, we are ophthalmologists who are authoritative by this TPA practices, and we are running our own practices. I think solo practitioners, group practices, and even private setups by corporates should form a they have a common interest in this. So possibly I disagree with Dr. Puneet that corporate setups should be kept outside this. Government or charitable are definitely different thing, but the processes for TPA cannot be possibly different for solo practitioners and group practitioners and corporates. The italics that I have kept are basically the actionable points that we have to do. So basically, I propose that a group of 2 or 3 representatives should be formed. And this group would be representing UPSOS or the practitioners as such to keep their point of view in front of the TPAs or insurance companies. This group should have a due authorization from UPSOS, and whatever work is being done by the group, it should be communicated timely to the office bearers and the members of the UPSOS. Now, we have several grievances. Most of us have talked about it. One thing I found missing is that the discretion at the time of empanelment is a very big issue. That is the time where they exploit your weakness that you are willing to get empanelment, so they try to impose their own terms. So there should be a uniformity that any person who is authorized to provide a treatment should also be authorized to provide a cashless treatment. If a government agency, a CMO, has registered a hospital or a center for providing medical care to the patients, and patients getting medical care at that center can get their bills reimbursed, so there should not be a separate category that these centers would be in the cashless list and some other centers may be excluded. Apart from that, whatever grievances we have, we should enlist them, and we should enlist them in priority, which is the most important part and what comes next. So this list should be prepared before we proceed further. Now comes how to address and engage with the TPAs or insurance companies. There is a way either we target them individually, each TPA, or if they also have a group, then we can target a group of 3 or 4, or there is an option that we can target the IRDA, the Insurance Regulatory Development Authority. So we should be very clear in our approach that what we are going to do. I believe targeting one TPA at a time would be more fruitful, so that or we can at least start with 2 or 3, but possibly we will have to talk to them separately, because otherwise if we go to IRD or something, then it would become a mess and there is unlikely to be any fruitful negotiation or outcome. Now, whatever the important checks that we should follow in this process is that we should be very clear about the resolutions that we seek. And we should be very clear what are our limits. what are the things which are mandatory, and what are the points that we can negotiate upon. Similarly, to lead this process to the fructification, we should definitely have a time frame, because delaying by these corporates, which are basically insurance companies and TPAs, so they would be indulging in delaying tactics, and that would derail the whole process. So whatever we do, we should be very clear that it should be done in a limited time frame. Now, this is the most important part. Before we embark on this journey, we should be very much prepared that what happens if we do not get a favorable response. Because if we fail, then they would have the upper hand, and then everything would be worse than what it is today. So we should be united in ourselves. And like we have talked about Mumbai Association, they are not doing any cashless. So we should be prepared in ourselves that if we do not get a reasonable deal with the insurance companies, then we should be prepared to take a more stringent action, and we should be united for that action before embarking on this journey. I think in short and crisp, this is what I believe that the way forward should be. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
So thank you so much, Dr. Ru. And after hearing all this, now we go on to a panel discussion, and we invite Dr. Ruchit Tiwari and we invite Dr. Ankit Agarwal, who are here with us. Both of them are young, dynamic members, as well as very good practitioners. Dr. Ruchit Tiwari is from Noida, and Dr. Ankit is from Prayagraj. And we invite you to conduct this panel discussion.
Thank you, ma'am.
And we also have Dr. Girjesh here. Dr. Girjesh is our lead for practice management sessions. So Dr. Girjesh, please join in along with them, along with the panel, along with the other panelists.
Thank you,
ma'am. Thank you, Mohita ma'am and Puneet sir and all the panelists here for agreeing for this webinar. It's a very important topic for all of us. And I think what Dr. Sanjeev or Dr. Puneet said, that for a first generation ophthalmologist, actually it is not even feasible to think of starting their own practice today. Things are so bad that I'm lucky that I'm a second generation ophthalmologist, as is Dr. Ankit, I believe. And so we don't face all the challenges that are being faced by our colleagues who are running from here 200, 300 kilometers just to get a single piece. So a very nice presentation by Dr. Roop and Dr. Hansraj does survey. But I think one of the biggest points of contentions for us is the way how we want to do our billing. And as pointed out by Dr. Puneet and Dr. Sanjeev during the survey part, that up till now, I think all of us have been doing all-inclusive package rates. I think we got into it simply because of the ease of getting a package rate. But the problem is that we are not talking about a dynamic component. We're only talking about fixed charges. And even when we want to negotiate higher rates, there is no way of going about it. So what is the opinion of the panel on how we bill our patients? And I think this should be done for cash paying patients as well as for insurance patients. If we do not have a single system of billing to our patients, there will always be chaos. And I think the insurance companies are the ones that make use of this chaos, and ultimately we suffer. So that would be my question to the panel.
Also, I would like to state that we have been doing a lot of TPA work for last many years now. So when we agree to a discount with the TPAs like 10% or 20%, so in our cases, a lot of times they do discount on the whole bill. But isn't it? I would like to ask the panel's opinion that shouldn't the discount not be done on consumables which we have bought from the market, because we have bought them at the price which we are claiming. The discount should not be done on them.
Ankit, you are very, very right. And this has been happening. And imagine in a case where you are putting a toric ICL, where the ICL is itself costing you both eyes, it is costing you 90,000 rupees. You sent for something 170, 180, whatever your rate was, and they cut a whole 25% discount on the whole bill. So imagine what are you left with? And they are actually how many you may argue for many times, and you may keep calling up, but there is no response from them. So Dr. Puneet, this is actually a very important point, I think, which should be this thing. And we checked on all our MOUs. We found that there were a few MOUs, few select ones, where it said that this discount is apart from consumables. But majority, 90% of MOUs say that it is on the flat billing that your discount is. So this needs to be addressed.
I think apart from the discount, the other thing which is very important is when you are comparing the all-inclusive package with the itemized billing is that when your payment comes, your TDS is cut on the whole amount if you are using a all-inclusive package. Whereas in itemized billing, if your payment will come, you will be taxed only on your surgical charges. Whereas the consumables will not be taxed in income tax. So that way you are saving on taxation also.
Yes.
Dr. Puneet, TDS, I don't think is a much issue, because in any case, you can claim it at the time of filing the ITR. So that is not an issue, but I think there should be, if at all, there is not a itemized billing, there are packages, then there should be a liberty for the patient to pay over and above that existing package. And basically, it is the transparency which should be there with the insurer and insured, that for his policy, this is the capping, this is the package which is allowed. And if he wishes to have anything add on, he should know that he would be paying it out of pocket, and he should be allowed to pay it.
You are exactly right, sir. In many cases, we have seen, in fact, it's written in the AL, do not collect any extra amount from the patient. And then the patient is asking us to put a trifocal and toric, and they have only sanctioned like 20,000 rupees. Now, how we can put in that? And then he says,
Dr. Ankit, I think the problem there is that in the agreement, it is only a monofocal lens.
Exactly.
So they tell you not to charge more from the patient. They're actually telling you not to charge more for a monofocal IOL, which you've already agreed to. And the problem is that this is somehow we are not able to convey initially to the patient, or the patient does not want to understand. So what Dr. Roop is saying is actually valid, that if a malumin ring was used during the surgery, it was for the benefit of the patient. It is not just because I wanted to use it, so I used it. And a lot of things are used during the surgery, which we should be able to tell the patient that this extra stuff was used, and we should be able to bill that to the insurance company separately. Now it is the prerogative of the insurance company and the insured to argue whether it will be paid or not. Because this was something extra that was done during the surgery, a decision was taken, and then at the end of it, it was done for the benefit of the patient. That is, I think, where we lack, that because of the transparency of what we are doing, that is why we suffer. And about the billing and discount that you were saying, I think that all that comes from the corporates, that all the corporates actually bill at MRP. So when you cut a 25% discount, they don't bother. And the same thing is then applied to us. And we are actually only charging the rate that is charged to us. We are not billing separately. We are not giving anything to the patient. We are not selling it to the patient. We are the end consumers for that. And that is where we fail. So when we talked about itemized billing and charging at MRP, it was not that we wanted to increase the surgical charges dramatically for the patient. It was just for the sake of clarity, that this is the situation and this is how we want to go about it, so that we are in a better position to negotiate with the patient or with the insurance company.
Actually, the group should negotiate with the TPA and should form a model MOU. So everybody signs the same MOU.
Yeah, so for example, GIPSA, when we are talking about GIPSA rates, I think GIPSA has now categorized 3-4 tiers, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. And that is what they're offering to all of us. I mean, we had to empanel a new hospital, and GIPSA gave us tier 4 rates, that we will only provide you tier 4 rates because you are a new empanelment, and we have to fight them for it. So when the entire insurance industry is actually collected and they are doing it as a unit, what you're saying is right. We should be ready with our own MOU, that all of us, at least of a particular state, will not sign anything below this, and these are the rates that we will agree to you with.
Dr. Ruchir, since we are discussing all this for solutions which we have to take forwards, I think somebody is noting down, Ankit or somebody, Gajesh, can you just note down all the suggestions so that this thing, and because then we can take it forwards accordingly. For example, as you said that about those, why should they label you as a tier 4 hospital? You know, there should be, and they have, from what we know, they have criteria for tier 1, 2, 3, 4, but they cannot use their own discretion suddenly that you are a new empanelment, so you become tier 4. These criteria, we remember they had made something like type A hospital, type B hospital, I don't know, a few years back, and in that they had criteria, this one is air conditioned fully, this one has got a modular OT, etc., etc. So those should be the criteria. That can be a point which you can take to the TPA, that these should be the criteria, and not on who is new and who's old, etc., which they are doing.
And even when based on the cities they categorize, like in Delhi or in Mumbai or in Chennai, they will offer much more rates than say in Prayagraj, because they say that. But
I think this thing is, their argument is that the infrastructure is cheaper. They feel that infrastructural cost is less, the manpower cost is less. So somewhere that argument can be taken, but it can be only, you know, a minimally small percentage less than a tier 1 city, for example.
True, but what they do is they provide almost half the rates. Say
Yeah.
45,000 there, 20,000 here.
I think there can be
one
some
more issue is there. As the policy, they have decided a 45,000 for a particular policy. If we go for a cashless, they force that you will go for the package rate. If we go for reimbursement, you can reimbursement 45,000. But if you come to the hospital for a cashless, you will try to force on a package rate. The package rate is almost 27,000.
Yeah, so I think the itemized billing is the way forward, because I think coming times they will cap the cost of IOLs also. So the money you are adjusting on the cost of IOLs will also be, I mean, not be available. And especially I'm talking about the retinal surgeries. I mean, there is so much of variation. Now, even in cataract surgery, there is so much of variation. You cannot perform a surgery on a all-inclusive basis. You have to charge for the consumables separately. Like the corporate hospital, if you go for a orthopedic surgery in a corporate hospital or a gynae surgery, they give you itemized billing. This is the surgeon charges, this is the OT charges, this is the consumable charges, these are medicines, these are this thing. And if they can reimburse the things there, why can't we adopt the same procedure in ophthalmic systems? Because that is more transparent, and we can fix our surgery charges, that this is I'll charge 15,000 whatever for as a surgeon fee, and rest are the itemized billing. So why we stick to the all-inclusive package? And once you give an all-inclusive package charges to a company, they try to squeeze on you on those charges further.
No, Puneet, currently, all the insurance companies MOUs, they are coming as drafted, and there is no option for itemized billing. It is always a package. There is always an all-inclusive package. So we, as UPSOS or other state societies, we should make our own model MOU as suggested just now, and then we should give this in return when we receive a MOU from them, which has only all-inclusive everything. There is always all-inclusive, and on top of that, they will ask for discount. And sometimes if you say zero, I don't want to give discount, then they may not even impanel you. And many a times it happens that you have not given any discount, you have not agreed for any discount, but they will still deduct some money in the end and say it is discount. It often happens. So that is the thing.
So common MOU is the answer to this, that we should draft a common MOU, and with a and that common MOU should have a fixed discount. But I don't know actually why we offer discount
No,
and
there is
why
no
they ask
need.
for discount.
There
What
is no
for?
need to offer discount, or we can offer
should we
discount on
offer a
volume.
discount?
If there is
Why
a high
should we
volume,
offer a discount?
why should we offer discount?
No, but still, why should we offer discount? I don't know, because that is whatever our TPA rates are, they are much less actually than our actual tariff list. So why this discount thing we can't understand for what
Asking
purpose?
for discount and offering the discount is basically to let you in as a cashless provider. That is the bait they give you. So once we have decided about the MOU, once we decide our rates, then there is no question of discount. And I'm again emphasizing that the initial point of discretion is the discretion available with them to give you as a preferred network service provider or not. So to gain entry into that network, then we give the discount. So basically, if anybody who's authorized to do a surgery, every person should be allowed to do surgery, and it should be reimbursed by the insurance company because the insured has paid the premium.
I think this is a very good point of Dr. Roop, that anybody who is registered in UP state through CMO registration should be allowed to should get empanelment.
That is the point where they start negotiating, and where there is the point where we start giving concessions, because we want to get empaneled, and probably we want to get empaneled in front of some of other competitors.
That is exactly that is the thing. So they take advantage of us, they exploit us, and they make money out of it. So that is what it is, and we should have a consensus amongst ourselves that we are not going to offer any discount to anybody. Yes. Or we may have a consensus, okay, we will offer discount provided we get so much business from them. If the business volume related discount, we can, but then there should be a consensus and we should all stick to it.
So and there should be the basic minimum charges that we will not give discounts below that. Definitely. And we should all stick to those basic minimum charges of all common procedures. Only then I think this
so basically a common MOU and common rates for everybody, and they should not be the deciding factor on whom to impanel, whom not to impanel. Whoever is registered can be impaneled. They can be the deciding factor of whether they want to group that hospital into type A, type B, type C, type D based on certain fixed criteria. And we would be, I think we would be okay to that. And another thing, Ruchir, I wanted to ask, there is a very big problem nowadays that we are facing, and I'm sure everybody is facing, that that we are counseling the patients based on a package. But what they give is an initial approval. Now, when they give an initial approval, now what lens to implant, whether what they will give in final approval, nobody knows. And they may just decide to not give, they may decide to give the full amount. And they give us no hint or no clue. So what most of us do is we ask the patient to pay, and then this process of refund, etc. So all that is a big hassle. So what could be the solution for this, that we could this thing? If we are working on packages, what is the meaning of giving an initial approval and then finalizing it? What are they checking after all because of that?
Actually, I think this all started again. We have to go back to the corporates, and we have to go back to multi-speciality systems where patients are admitted for more than one day.
Yes.
So the problem is that they will bill for every day, and then they will give a final bill. What our situation is very different. So if we go back to the definition of daycare, it is 4 hours admission, and by that time they are supposed to discharge the patient. Unfortunately, they keep on lingering, and there have been cases where the approval has not come even for a day, and patient had to be sent home. We had to call up the insurance company.
No, they don't allow us to send the patient back. So we have to come up with this thing for solution with them, that give a approval once and for all before the surgery, rather than me waiting, patient waiting, and patient saying that my experience is bad now because they made me wait for 8 hours.
Yeah. So once this happened, and at 9 in the night, we had to call up the insurance company and then tell them that we are going home, Patient is going home. You want to give the approval, you give. Otherwise, we'll ask the patient to pay. So they gave the approval next day. So I think the solution would be that you have to approve everything beforehand. Before the surgery starts, once approval for whatever. And the thing is that they don't even check the patient's policy beforehand. They give a pre-approval. Then the surgery is done, and when we submit the final bills, at the end of it, they will come up with some excuse that the patient's limit exhausted or something else happened. So this is the insurance company's job to check everything before.
And other way around also. Sometimes we are telling the patient that as per GIPSA, you will only get this.
Exactly.
So kindly pay this much extra. And the patient later on, next day, we find that the whole amount for trifocal came. So the patient starts blaming us. Why were you unnecessarily asking me for the money? So it has to be a prior approval, not like multi-speciality, but like a take care center. And whatever is there, you approve prior to the surgery.
One more thing we can ask these insurance companies that they should have some kind of a person who directly communicates with us, like a relationship manager, like most banks these days, when you have an account, corporate account or your current account. So they will give you a relationship manager. So you can speak with that in case of any problems. So I think we should also insist that we should be given some direct contact number. Otherwise, you keep on calling these companies and there's no this thing or that they're going to answer your call. So issues remain unresolved for long periods of time because of that. At least we should have some contact person.
So a lot of time what happens is we are trying to contact the TPA. The TPA is saying that is a problem with the insurance company. Then we contact the insurance company.
Yes.
Now they will say that no, we have given the TPA. The TPA has to solve this.
So
And
there
we
should
keep
be
going to and forth.
a one point of contact, as per Dr. Sanjeev said.
It's actually going to worsen now because most of the insurance companies are actually employing TPAs. And the problem is that now we have two separate MOUs, one with the insurance company and one with the TPA. And the TPA will actually push you to pay for that. They will give you the approved rates, what you approve with them and not with the insurance company. So we have had these cases where there was open billing for retinal surgery, but because it was now being done through a TPA, we were getting GIPSA rates. And we had to fight very hard with them. And some of the times they do agree to it and most of the times they don't. So even this has to be sorted out. And I think that the common MOU wala thing would be the answer to this.
So Dr. Ruchir, what we do in this case is that if we have a separate MOU with the insurance company and the TPA has also been employed, we send it directly to the insurance company and they give we don't approach the TPA at all in the beginning. If the insurance company states in the email that approach the TPA first, then only we give the pre-authorization for the TPA.
So I think when you go through corporate insurance policies, you will face the same issues because corporates go through TPAs always. They're not going through companies anymore. So a lot of
they get bulk discount.
Sir, I think one suggestion I would want to make regarding the common MOU, if you look at all the TNOA, all the costing analysis that has been done for cataract surgery, everything is written, all the charges excluding the cost of IOL. This is what is mentioned because we assume that IOL, because it is a fact that IOL is a consumable that will be used in one eye only. So the problem with other specialties is that we are assuming that the surgeon is going to reuse all the consumables. And we don't have a specific reuse policy. We don't know how many times the consumable will be used, how many times safely we can use it. And unfortunately, what I've seen over the years is that the quality of the consumables is now going down. The same cutter which could be used for 5 cases is now being used for 2 cases. And we are the ones who have to pay for it. So either we should be very open about it, that we are reusing consumables to bring down the cost. And this is what is going to be paid for by the insurance company. And if the patient wants to choose to use fresh consumables, that option should be given to the patient. Because if we don't tell it to the patient how we are bringing the cost down, at some point in time, we will be in a soup. Because the insurance companies expect us to go on decreasing the rates, and the rates and the consumable charges are keeping on increasing. And the companies don't even increase the charges based on inflation. That is one of the biggest problems. It is on their whims and fancies.
So this is another important point you have put up, Dr. Puneet. This also needs to be addressed, that the MOUs are never renewed. MOUs are not renewed. And I know that we have many MOUs which are 15 years old and we kept sending mail after mail. I think Dr. Roop had, or Dr. Sanjeev Hansraj, or somebody had in your talk today had brought this forward also, that yearly renewal and inflation should be taken into account.
And one more thing is that these people, they sort of make benchmarks out of the rates of CGHS and Ayushman. So why are they being made as benchmarks? The insurance companies kind of do that. So that is another thing that our MOU should, take care of.
Another thing I want to add to what Dr. Ruchir was talking, it is also legally, if you had any problem in your case, and if the case has gone to consumer forum, then there you have to prove that you have not reused the consumables. If you have not proven it, then your case is gone. So this reuse policy should be very clear, and we should also explain this to the patient, and should be written. There should be a written consent that I allow reuse of the consumable. Otherwise, we should not be using these consumables which are meant for single use.
Sir, I believe even if we take a consent from the patient, we will still be in a soup if the case goes to consumer forum, because the consumables are expressly written on the pack that they are single-use consumables. So the patient can claim that he did not know. The doctor just said, "I will reuse." I just signed on that.
So the point
I
is,
don't think in our country we can come out with this. At least in India, we cannot give it in, take it in writing from the patient that he allows.
So the
And
point,
nowhere else is it
there was a
reused.
very interesting article. There was a very interesting editorial by Dr. Rajiv Raman in British Journal of British Journal of Medicine, where he has very nicely described this reuse policy, and he has suggested that we should inform patient about if we are reusing this. He should understand because of the cost. Otherwise, he should be ready to pay for the consumables. How can we see?
So which means we should have two types of packages. One is with the reuse, and the other is with fresh packs and fresh consumables. And we can offer both to the patient, and we can offer both to the TPAs also. And in that fresh this thing, they can keep asking us for those stickers, etc., or boxes or whatever they want.
So we don't mind doing that. Now, the point is that this will come out in the open one way or the other. No one can. So if a patient comes to me with a package rate saying that a VR surgery is being done on a Constellation machine for 35,000 rupees, the easiest thing I can do is I can give him a list of consumables that are being used, and then tell him, please ask them what are they going to use on your eye, and where are they getting it from? Do they have a bill for all the consumables? So we don't do it because all of us are doing it.
If you look at today's patient, Ruchir, the most important thing in his mind is the cost. And he will go shopping for cost. He may spend extra 10,000 rupees in going from one practice to the other practice, just for the sake of knowing who is going to do it at the least cost. May not go to the least cost, but he won't go to the person who is doing it maximum. So there are very few understanding people. When you tell these things to the normal patients who come to us, they don't have the caliber to understand all these things. They only think as it is, our impressions in their minds have changed, and they think that we are only out to make money, thanks to the media or thanks to everything. So they may think that this is just a ploy to increase our fees. So, it's a very complicated thing, and it's not so easy to, implement.
Sir, I agree, but again, I would want to make a point that if the world believes that we are out there for making money, then let us bill it like that. If all of us are billing like that,
we can start doing that for our own patients, which are cash patients or not TPA patients. TPAs, I don't think will agree to this as of now. So let's get things which they could at least put forward, things which can come forward, which they may agree, and we bring about some change.
But a costing analysis.
I think to begin with, let us make a draft MOU. To begin with, I think let us start somewhere, and the draft MOU may be the best thing. At the same time, we should also go into the details of this IRDA policy. I don't know, they must be having some directives for these insurance companies, since it is the regulatory authority. So what is its role? Do they not have any guidelines for the insurance companies as to what should be the way in which they will, make their packages or their reimbursements? So we should, I think,
Dr. Puneet, this would go to the IRDA, whatever recommendations we make, and not to individual companies. The other states have also sent it to the IRDA.
No, they have Tamil Nadu Association has directly communicated to various different TPAs and insurance companies. They have not approached IRDA till now. This
I
is
think
Okay.
approaching the TPA directly would be the beneficial. Otherwise, it would be a bureaucratic mess.
But they will easily say that we are governed by IRDA. We are not going to listen to you. We will do as per the IRDA. You know, they can come up with that. So I think we should approach both the ways. And maybe we should take the advice of some expert, someone who is really, you know, who is a professional in these matters. Because we can't be doing all these things ourselves. It is too technical and complicated now, not these days.
So as Dr. Sanjeev has very rightly said, let's look into what the directives of IRDA are to these companies so that we are in a better position to talk to these companies then. There must be some directives to regulate them.
Right.
I think we should make our draft MOU. At the same time, we should, you know, do this exercise too. And I'm sure there may be professionals in Delhi NCR, people who are really knowing about, you know, these insurance matters and IRDA and things. Maybe take a professional help from
There are
them.
people in
में
TNOA.
एक और इम्पोर्टेंट आती है
और
जो महाराष्ट्र ऑप्थेल्मिक सोसाइटी ने अपने जो ये
उन
जो
लोगों से बात करें.
भेजे हैं उसमें ये इन्होंने एक बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट बात लिखी है साइंटिफिक कॉस्टिंग की, साइंटिफिक कॉस्टिंग ऑफ द प्रोसीजर. हमारी जो अभी तक कॉस्टिंग है वो एक आर्बिट्ररी कॉस्टिंग है कि डॉक्टर रूप इतने चार्ज करते हैं, चलो मैं 10% कम कर लेता हूँ, या डॉक्टर श्रॉफ इतना चार्ज कर लेते हैं, उससे मैं हमारी कोई साइंटिफिक कॉस्टिंग नहीं है. और वो जो चलता चला आ रहा है हम उसको फॉलो करते चले आ रहे हैं कि ये करते हैं, इनसे हम थोड़ा 5% कम रख लेते हैं, 10%, तो वो एक चार्जेस बन रहे हैं. बट दीज चार्जेस आर नॉट साइंटिफिकली डिजाइंड हाउ अ फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम शुड बी रनिंग. आई थिंक वी शुड.
So, Puneet, the AIOS ने एक बार ये किया था. They have done a cost analysis from a few practitioners in different places. And similarly, we can do, since we are not, we are talking about UP. We can do from various small as well as big places in UP. We can do a cost analysis and we can group them into, as Ankit said, into tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities and or towns or whatever they're called, and we can have a cost analysis, and then we can approach the TPA with that.
Yeah.
Which means
एक
that
दिमाग
they
में
are
सवाल आता है, एक सवाल
practitioner.
मेरे दिमाग में
क्या?
सवाल आता है, मुझे मालूम नहीं, मतलब कभी सोचा नहीं इसके बारे में. अभी मैंने ये सोचा, ये भी आया दिमाग में कि मान लीजिए हम एक सर्जरी बेसिक कोई सपोजिंग हर्निया या कोलिसिस्टेक्टमी हम कराते हैं मेदांता में, अपोलो में, मैक्स में, तो क्या उनके रेट्स कंपेरेबल मतलब सेम होते हैं? मतलब उसी तरीके से हुआ ना जैसे हम लोगों के इंडिविजुअल प्रैक्टिसेस या हॉस्पिटल्स हैं, तो इज इट कितना उसमें वेरिएशन होता है? उसमें क्या मतलब, इफ वी आर डूइंग द सेम कैटेगरी, टेकिंग द सेम कैटेगरी ऑफ रूम and doing the same surgery at 3 of these major hospitals, so what would be the difference of cost? कुछ होगा कि नहीं होगा?
तो मैं 2 पॉइंट्स कहना चाहता हूँ. एक तो हम जितना ज़्यादा डिटेल्स में जाएंगे उतना चीज़ें कॉम्प्लिकेट होंगी, उतना डिफरेंस ऑफ ओपिनियन होगी और उतना एक फाइनल ड्राफ्ट बनने में दिक्कत भी होगी, एक्सेप्टेंस में भी दिक्कत होगी. हमें बेसिकली एक तो इनिशियल एमओयू पे ध्यान देना चाहिए. एक जो डिस्क्रिशनरी उनकी पावर्स है या जो डिस्क्रिशन वो जिस भी स्टेज पे यूटिलाइज करते हैं उसको हमें डिस्क्रिशनरी के बजाय एक सेट पैरामीटर्स सेट करने चाहिए. ट्रांसपेरेंसी अगर इंश्योर्ड और इंश्योरेंस कंपनी में है, अगर इंश्योर्ड को पता है कि मैंने 5 लाख का पॉलिसी ली है, उसमें 40,000 का मुझे कैटरेक्ट सर्जरी अलाउड है, तो अगर मैं मान लो 50 ले रहा हूँ, आप 40 ले रहे हैं, तो पेशेंट की मर्जी है. जैसे एक खुद जो पे करता है वो किसी अपना सर्जन चूज करता है. अगर उसको 40 में ही कराना है तो वो वहाँ 40 वाले में जाके करा ले. अगर वो मेरे पास आके 50 खर्च करना चाहता है तो 40,000 उसे इंश्योरेंस कंपनी से मिल जाए, 10,000 वो आउट ऑफ पॉकेट पे करने को तैयार है. अब उसमें कंज्यूमेबल्स, रिजल्ट्स, वो सब जैसे एक नॉर्मल पेइंग पेशेंट डिसाइड करता है. हमारा जो पेइंग पेशेंट है वो कुछ सोच के ही हमारे पास आता है ना, या कहीं और जाता है। या तो वो इकोनॉमी सोचता है, या क्वालिटी सोचता है, या एक्सपर्टीज सोचता है। तो वो डिस्क्रिशन एक इंश्योर्ड को भी हो, पर उसको ये पता होना चाहिए कि भाई मुझे इंश्योरेंस कंपनी से इतना मिलेगा, अगर मैं उससे हायर वाले के पास जा रहा हूँ तो वो मुझे आउट ऑफ पॉकेट देना है।
सर आप कभी इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसी पढ़िए तो उसके अंदर में इतना बारीक प्रिंट है, वो सब ट्रांसपेरेंसी है सर। ये नहीं कि वो नहीं है, ये तो आईआरडी इंश्योर करता है कि वो सब चीजें बताएं। वो इतना बारीक छापता है और इतना घुमा फिरा के लिखता है कि उसको समझ पाना ही मुश्किल हो जाता है।
That's what not transparency.
जी
It is basically the, मतलब it is a
करेक्ट।
symbol of transparency. उसको पता तो नहीं होता ना इंश्योर।
हाँ
सर
सही
आप
बात।
तो टोटल अमाउंट्स की बात कर रहे हैं, यहाँ पे जब कोपे लिख के आता है तो पेशेंट कहता है हमारा तो कैशलेस है, हम पैसा क्यों दें?
जी हाँ,
ऐसे क्वेश्चन आते
कोई
हैं।
पेशेंट देना नहीं चाहता पैसे, अपनी जेब से एक पैसा भी नहीं देना चाहता
तो वो
ज्यादातर लोग।
इसलिए होता है ना कि एजेंट जब पॉलिसी बेचता है तो वो उसको ओवर प्रॉमिस करता है, सब कुछ हो जाएगा, पहले साल में हो जाएगा, कुछ भी चिंता मत कर, 5 लाख की पॉलिसी है। वो सब बातें नहीं बताता ना। अगर ये बातें उसको पहले बताई जाए तो वो भी मन से तैयार होके घर से आए। प्रॉब्लम तो वहीं आती है ना, जब वो पॉलिसी बेचने के टाइम ट्रांसपेरेंसी नहीं होती और वो फाइन प्रिंट नहीं पढ़ता। एक बात है, तो दैट इज व्हाट, अगर हम उसको प्रेस करेंगे कि भाई ट्रांसपेरेंटली आप अपनी पॉलिसी बेचो, आपको इतना क्लेम आपको देना है, इतना प्रीमियम आप लेते हो, जिसको ज्यादा पे करना है, प्रीमियम लेंस चाहिए, प्रीमियम डॉक्टर चाहिए, प्रीमियम सेंटर चाहिए, वो आउट ऑफ पॉकेट दे दो।
सर आई थिंक वन स्टेप प्री अप्रूवल अगर आ जाए,
बस
सर्जरी के दिन
बात
सुबह
जो
पहले
है,
दिन पता चल जाए 20,000 मिलने हैं कि 25 मिलने हैं,
बस
आप लेंथ डिसाइड कर लो, आप हर चीज डिसाइड कर लो, एंड यू गेट डन विद द सर्जरी। दैट इज हाउ।
एग्जैक्टली सर, हमें सर्जरी के पहले अगर पता हो कि हमारा ये लिमिट है, इस पेशेंट को इतना मिलेगा, तो हम सर्जरी के पहले पेशेंट को काउंसिल कर सकते हैं कि
एंड इट इज हिज
भाई देखो इतना
डिस्क्रिप्शन, वो हमसे करा रहा है या नहीं करा रहा।
सर एक जो प्रॉब्लम बीच में आई थी
है,
वो ये है दैट
ये पॉसिबल है। अब आप एक्स्ट्रा जो चाहते हो इसमें।
सर एक हम लोगों के साथ अभी प्रॉब्लम आई है दैट 2-3 केसेस में इंश्योरेंस कंपनी इज नाउ पुशिंग पेशेंट्स कि आप दूसरी जगह जाके कराओ जहां पे आपका अप्रूवल ज्यादा आएगा। ये एक नया सिस्टम शुरू हो गया कि यहाँ पे तो 27,000 मिलेंगे, आप जी 34 वाले पे जाके करा लो और ये सेंटर का नाम है। तो इफ वी ऑल एग्री टू अ कॉमन एमओयू जहां हर हर सेंटर पे पेशेंट को इंश्योरेंस से उतना ही मिलेगा,
यही
देन
मैं
हमारी आधी एक्सपेक्टेशन सेटल हो जाती है।
यही मैं कह रहा हूँ डॉक्टर रुचिर, दैट इज व्हाट आई एम सेइंग।
बिल्कुल सर।
So I think what Dr. Roop is saying is correct, that we need to keep our steps simple. If you go into too much complexities, too many cost analysis, too many different things, then though one basic cost analysis should be done, that basic minimum itna hona chahiye. We cannot go below this. So, and we take 4-5 steps forwards. I think, Ruchir, you can summarize what is out of this whole discussion. What are the steps that we should actually take forward? And Dr. Puneet and others can then suggest as to what we need to omit and what we take it.
आई थिंक मिनट्स ऑफ द मीटिंग आई विल प्रिपेयर, क्या हम लोगों ने अभी तक डिस्कस किया है, ड्राफ्ट एमओयू एंड द थिंग्स दैट वी वांट इन अ ड्राफ्ट एमओयू। एंड इफ डॉक्टर, सो आई थिंक डॉक्टर पुनीत एंड डॉक्टर संजीव यू विल बी देयर एट यूपीएसओएस, सो आप उनको प्रेजेंट कर देंगे फिर जीडीएम में। सो आई थिंक इसको एक बाय 2 days आई शुड बी एबल टू प्रिपेयर इट, देन सबमिट इट ऑन द ग्रुप, एक ड्राफ्ट सही बना के, एंड डॉक्टर रूप कैन देन फॉर्मलाइज द ड्राफ्ट, सर कैन आल्सो हेल्प अस इन फॉर्मलाइजिंग द ड्राफ्ट। ठीक है मैम।
ठीक है सर।
डॉक्टर मोहिता, इसमें जो यूपीएसओएस में जो जीबीएम है, इसमें हम इसको प्रेजेंट करें? क्योंकि
In GPM, we will be mentioning in my report, I'm mentioning that this process has been initiated and this is what has been done. And if anybody has to say anything, they can say, and you would be there, and I can invite you to say a few words on what the process is. So if somebody has an opinion of their own, because like here we are discussing, we cannot be discussing with 100 people. Anybody, if they have their suggestions, they can come up with suggestions. We can keep a timeline that you have this much time for giving your suggestions, because GBM has lots of agenda.
No, but
So,
this
but
is
I don't
important
think this is
agenda,
a
ये होना चाहिए।
controversial topic. Basically, GBM is for whether this should be done or not done. I'm sure 100% this thing would be that it should be done.
I think at least 2 or 3, the group of 3 should be decided, and that group should be authorized in the GBM to carry this process forward.
Yeah, yeah. In GBM we can put it forward, and then after that, and we can put forward these are the people who are authorized, and when GBM says they agree to this, then anyway we are this thing. So that way all members would know also what is going on.
And members can communicate with the group.
Yes.
Right. And give the suggestions and
they can mail their suggestions or they can directly talk.
And we can keep this the TPA forms that we have the surveys. We can keep this open and tell them tell people about it in the UPSOS conference, so that we might get even a few more responses and a more comprehensive,
more the responses, more easier it is for us to convince the TPAs that all our members want this.
Yeah, a few more cities will be covered and more members will be covered.
आप बिल्कुल ठीक कह रहे हो डॉक्टर अंकित, बट आई थिंक जो 5-6 इश्यूज हैं वो एवरीबडी, मतलब चाहे तमिलनाडु है, चाहे मुंबई है, चाहे महाराष्ट्र है, मतलब इट इज कि एट द टाइम ऑफ एम्पैनलमेंट नो डिस्क्रिशन, रेट मतलब एक यूनिफॉर्मिटी, पेमेंट टाइमली, अगर नहीं आता तो उसका ग्रीवियंस रिड्रेसल क्विक होना चाहिए, और रिवीजन होने का 1 साल 2 साल का जो भी है वो है. Everybody agrees on this, and even these 4 or 5 points, if they are agreed and executed, then it would be a big relief.
Right. Exactly, sir.
An important question is also you can decide amongst yourself what should be those minimum rates. Like in the survey, I saw 50,000 and 60,000 for MIBS and complex and simple surgeries, but I think that is also very low. Considering so much of infrastructure, so many consumables, so much expertise of the surgeon, so much to face after the surgery, 50 and 60,000 is nothing, I feel.
For the first time, people are talking about retina surgery, about the rates. हम लोग CGHS में 13,000 में विट्रेक्टमी के रेट झेलने की आदत हैं, और ये जो फोरम बना हुआ है इसमें जितने भी हम लोग बैठे हुए हैं, everybody is a retina specialist जो कि काम करते हैं. I think that is the reason why we are here to discuss these things about retina specialists.
Correct. So I have argued so many times with the TPAs where I've given them a whole list of consumables costing 63,000 rupees for one case.
Yes.
Non-reusable. Why should we not? So how can they give us such low rates?
Yeah.
You should look at the bill which is raised by Shankar Netralaya for their VR surgeries. You see 3 pages, it runs into 3 pages. So these guys should also be aware of it.
They're still charging half of what Medanta charges. They will charge 2.5 lakh for a VR.
It should be that much.
And I'm sure that it must be getting reimbursed there.
Sir?
So we are not understanding the value
must
of
be getting reimbursed there. True.
That is the irony.
True.
So I think these are very important discussions, and if we are almost done, then we can close the session. And President Sir, are you there? So please give your closing remarks.
Unmute, sir, please.
Unmute, sir.
Unmute yourself.
Sir, unmute करना है आपको.
Yes, now. Am I audible now?
Yes,
sir. Very much.
हमने आपका ये बड़े ध्यान से और बड़े प्रेम से सुना. And it is a really wonderful to listen you all. And इसमें जितनी भी concrete ideas आए हैं जो डॉक्टर रूप ने रखे हैं, डॉक्टर रुचिर ने रखे हैं, डॉक्टर मोहिता शर्मा ने रखे हैं, पुनीत ने रखे हैं, they are all very valuable points. 5-6 points what Dr. Roop has given, that should be in the clear cut in the MOU. And I hope यदि आप सब लोग आगे बढ़ेंगे तो definitely कुछ ना कुछ concrete निकल के आ ही जाएगा. And there will be some uniformity. With all these things, I just say thanks to all of you and carrying out such a wonderful webinar on TPA issues. So rest.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Just carry on. Make a
Okay.
body and carry on for this.
Okay, so Dr. Dharmendranath has given a go ahead to this, and so Dr.
Yes,
Puneet
of course.
can take it forwards now.
Tell you good night, then we will meet all again at
Good night.
Prayagraj.
Good night.
TPM में मैम we
Okay.
have put up this MOU जो डॉक्टर
Yes, yes.
रुचिर और डॉक्टर अंकित डॉक्टर रूप की गाइडेंस में डॉक्टर हंसराज की गाइडेंस बना के और लेट्स होप
So
कि
all of you should unite to make a good MOU
yes
Okay.
and favorable to all.
yes sir.
Okay. Okay, thank you everybody, and thank you to the
Thank you.
audience also for watching.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.